Hey guys, thanks for visiting Tech Connect. Today I have a review of a product that a lot of people have been waiting a long time for. It's a new media player from Minix. This is the Minix U9H. First off, this is an Android media player, which is not quite the same thing as Google TV. This runs what I would call Open Android. Essentially, it's a clean version of Android like you'd find on your phone or tablet, but it's built to run as a media player on your TV and be easy to control. It also makes a great super compact Android computer. The main reasons that I like Open Android are 1, it's got full Google Play Store access, and 2, it's highly customizable. Full Play Store access means that you can choose from tens of thousands of apps in Google Play and easily install them without having to sideload apps. This compares to Android TV, which only has a few hundred apps and games to choose from. Sometimes if you sideload apps on an Android TV device, you can run into problems. For example, you can't click on things, or maybe it will be laggy because it's an unsupported app. I'm just saying that it's a lot easier to install apps straight from the Play Store, and it's a much safer way to avoid malware. You can still run into compatibility issues, but it's a little bit less likely. I'm also really into customization on my media players. The U9H lets you install all kinds of different launchers, widgets, live wallpapers, and settings. I always like to install Nova Launcher or TSF Launcher on my media players because I like the animations and it really makes it easy to start my apps. Anyways, the U9H is highly customizable and that's one of my favorite things about it. Now I want to show you some of the other new features on this media player. First up, let's look at my favorite new feature on the U9H, and that is voice search. If you get the A3 remote, it's got a key right here for voice to text and voice search, and it works really well. The reason is because it works in any app. As long as it has a keyboard, you just hit that little voice to text icon on the keyboard, then hit the voice search button on here, and it will let you input as much text as you want. I think this actually works better than Android TV because Android TV, to do a voice search, you have to have an app that is supported, and there's only a handful of apps that are supported right now. This guy can work in pretty much any app that you can bring up an on-screen keyboard in. Now it is a little bit more involved to enter text on this than it is on Android TV because you need to select the space you want the text to go into, hit the button on the keyboard for voice to text, then hit the button on the remote and speak your text. But you can put in long strings of text. I mean, you can even fill out a page if you want to. And it's supported in every app, like I said before. So I think the benefits outweigh the extra hassle a little bit.
Open App Appy Geek. How far is it from Washington, D.C. to New York?
New York is 3 hours and 48 minutes from Washington by car in light traffic. Here are your directions.
Up next is a really great addition to the U9H, and that is a security feature which essentially gives you access to full high-definition video on streaming apps like Netflix and YouTube. Now, there is a special version of Netflix that you can download to get the best quality, and I'll add a link to it in the video description right below the link to where you can buy the U9 and the A3 remote control. Another exciting feature of the U9H is the audio support. The H stands for Dolby Digital. This has Dolby Digital Audio and HD Audio Pass-Through in Kodi. For the most advanced options, you should use the HDMI, but it also has an optical audio out port, which is what I use mostly, and it's getting pretty hard to come by these days. Here's a chart with more info on the supported audio configurations from cnxsoftware.com. I'll link to their page in the video description. Another one of the best features on the U9 is that it's highly optimized for media playback. Kodi is working great on here. Even at 4K resolution, it's working flawlessly. It also works well with Plex videos in 4K, and of course the streaming services work well too. Even Tableau, my network DVR app, is working well on here. Video playback is definitely its strong suit. It's also got Wi-Fi 802.11 AC 2x2 MIMO dual band Wi-Fi, which basically means it's really fast Wi-Fi. Here you can see running on speedtest.net, it completely pegs the needle. I'm going from about 20 feet away, and it's nice and fast. It's also got a new octa-core processor from AM Logic, which handles really well. In practice, everything is super fast and snappy. Geekbench scores came back lower than I expected though, and I think maybe it's not fully optimized for this processor yet. It really does seem to have good processing power though. I mean, app stalls are nice and fast.
It chews through 4K video with no problem. The user interface is nice and fluid and not laggy at all. And it can even run third-party launchers with very little lag as well. And last but not least, Minix has finally updated to Marshmallow. They told me they waited for this update to make sure that everything was perfected and there was no bugs, so they have a high-quality box. So I really appreciate this because the box is great. And included with Android Marshmallow is adoptable storage, so I can use a USB thumb drive or micro SD card and add it as adoptable storage so apps can be installed onto it, which increases the total storage of the box. Here's a great bonus on the U9. You can now do video screen capture using the app Screen Recorder 5 Plus. Now I know screen recording also works on the Shield, but this is the first open Android media player that have got video screen recording to work on. So that recording didn't even seem to slow the U9 down, maybe just a slight bit, but really it's not even noticeable. So let's watch the recording now. This is the recording and it's in 10 megabits and 1920 by 1080. And I think it looks really good. So video screen recording is definitely working now. And finally, I'm going to do a list of the pros and cons, and I'll update this list in the video description. So if this video has been out a while, check that description, things might be updated. So for the pros, I really like the voice remote. That's my favorite new improvement on this player. Also, it's nice and fast and responsive, and it even can handle 4K at 60 frames a second in HDR, which is great. I love that now the mainstream apps like Netflix, YouTube, Hulu that need security can now play back in full high definition. And I love the hardware on the U9H. It's got optical audio out and Dolby Digital surround sound, 3 USB ports, gigabit Ethernet plus Wi-Fi, and the adaptable storage are awesome. And now for the cons. First of all, I'd like to see USB 3.0 ports, at least one. Also on the remote, I love the voice search, but I wish there was a smaller, more basic remote with just like 5 functions and the voice search. That would be awesome.
Okay guys, that wraps up my review for the Minix U9H. If you've been on the fence and waiting for the perfect Android media player, especially an open Android player, this guy is a really good one to get. I'll have a link to where you can get it with the A3 remote in the video description down below. And while you're down there, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and be sure to turn on notifications so you'll see all my new videos as soon as they come out. Also, hit that like button, it helps me out a ton. Thanks again for watching, and as always, aloha.